Hi, I'm Congressman Steve Pearce. I did want to be there with you at this energy summit. Thanks to Carlsbad for putting it on, and thanks for what you're doing. Uh, Obviously, we're here in D.C. We've got votes this week, so it's just the way it worked out. But I want to take just a moment and discuss what's happening in Lee and Eddy counties right now. New Mexico, number one, should be a leader in every kind of energy. We've got wind, we've got solar, we've got the oil and gas, obviously. We've got coal, we've got geothermal, biomass, nuclear. Everything is in New Mexico, and we should and can lead in all. But the dramatic thing that's happening right now, and it's of worldwide importance, it's just not important to New Mexico, but Lee and Eddy counties are driving the entire U.S. production to where we're going to replace Saudi Arabia and then Russia as the number one and two producers of oil in the world. Now, I grew up in a time where we said that we had already reached peak oil. That means that people said we had reached the maximum we're going to produce in this nation, and then there's going to be a steady decline. But especially that was being postulated in New Mexico. Now, just put it in perspective, a discovery about 5 years ago south of Carlsbad there is going to produce more oil from that one field than the entire state of New Mexico and in New Mexico's entire history. That was one field. A couple of years later, they discovered the other field, which is even more expansive. Some estimates are that it may be 1,000 times bigger than the Bakken. The CEO from Conoco, Chevron, Exxon, they've all told me that their productivity in New Mexico exceeds everything in the rest of the world. Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, anywhere else, that the wells are more productive. The rate of return on the investment is greater in Lee and Eddy counties than anywhere. Now that's what's going on. And of course, for the state, it's dramatic. Last year, we were having to take money back from schools in order to make the budget work. This year, we're looking at $1.2 billion, and I don't think we've reached the top. Now, that didn't just turn into be $1.2 billion. What happened is that, first of all, that we're going to be able to balance the budget pretty easily. Then we're going to have a $200 million surplus, a $300, a $400, and then jump to an $800, and then from $800 to $1.2. So I don't think that we're through seeing the amount of surplus that we're going to create for the state. Now, I'm saying that we've got to spend that money on infrastructure in order to develop a 50-year economy. Let's plan for the days when we don't have oil and gas in such strong amounts, and let's invest in our broadband and our highways, water and sewer across New Mexico to where we can build the components that are necessary to expand the economy. But in the meantime, we need to be aware of what we're giving up. If you look at the rig count in this area, that area of Lee and Eddy County, look right across into Texas, and you will see that they've got that they have 300 rigs running more or less there. And in New Mexico, we've got just under 100. So and then the oil is better in New Mexico. It's better quality and better quantity, and yet we have fewer rigs because of the regulatory environment. So we've put a couple of bills in here in Washington that would speed up the application for permits to drill, the APDs. It would speed that process up. The BLM was totally on board with that. We'll see if we can get them to the House floor and on to the Senate, but they passed out of committee, so a very important step. But each rig will mean about $1 million a year in additional income to the state, so $300 million more is there with us if we can figure out this permitting. Now, one of the problems that's come up is that we don't have the infrastructure to capture the natural gas, and so you've got the whole methane question. We need to deal with that. The government needs to permit all of the pipelines needed to capture that gas. When you see that flaring, understand that companies would rather be harnessing it. They don't want to flare that gas. It has value, it has market value, but many times the government is what's standing in the way. So let's figure out the answers to that. Let's harvest and harness that methane gas. Then the road situation, you're well aware of just the heavy traffic there on the roads in southeast New Mexico. We need a solution to that. I'm suggesting that we want alternative routes for the commercial traffic, for the industrial traffic. We will figure that out as we move forward into the future. So let's get the permits done. Let's get them simplified from BLM. Let's get the infrastructure for pipelines whether we can gather that natural gas. Let's expand the infrastructure, the water and the sewer there in Lee and Eddy counties and the roads, and then know that, that we're set for a very good long-term run. In the meantime, we'll expand our alternative energies dramatically. I think that New Mexico can and should be the leader in those. So this is right that we would have this conference here in Carlsbad. Again, I salute the city for making it happen. Each one of you as participants, thank you for being there and what you do for the energy of America, because we are powering the country, and now then we're shipping our oil worldwide. So big things happening. They're occurring right there in southeast New Mexico. Keep up the great work. God bless you. Godspeed to you. Thank you.